What is good, y'all? This is the OG Bronc Nut 719 West. Want to talk a little bit before the season starts because, in my opinion, the season doesn't actually start until Sunday after the cuts have been done, trades have been made, teams have been rearranged, practice squads have been filled, and then we've actually got a roster, and then it's game on Monday morning. And so I'm not even really thinking about so much the Raiders right now on Monday night. I mean, if you the preview video for that game from me against the Raiders, I know that everybody's probably looking for is going to be coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime next week. But I mean, if you want a preview on the preview, I ain't worried about the Raiders. I'm worried about trying to get our roster put together right now because Broncos just waived Kevin Hogan, which I'm glad about. I'm sure a lot of Broncos fans are. Backup quarterback just didn't do anything spectacular, right? 3 interceptions, although one of them was picked or tipped. That may not have been certainly his fault. A nice touchdown pass he threw in the third game or the last game of the preseason, the fifth game actually, I guess. But it just wasn't really enough. He was like 33 of 56. I mean, the guy just doesn't do enough. I mean, look, I think he used to play for the Chiefs. The Chiefs cut him. If he ain't good enough to play for the sorry-ass Chiefs, Hogan ain't good enough to play in Denver. That's for sure. So, I think that we had really not a lot of surprises with the cuts. I mean, I guess you could argue that Sua Cravens was maybe a little bit of surprise because, you know, we signed him for a decent amount of money from the Redskins a couple of years ago. He's been riddled with injuries since he's been here. I hadn't really been on the field very much. What's up, y'all? What's up, everybody, for coming in the stream? Let me pull up a new window here on my laptop so I can actually read these comments that are coming in because they're coming in on my iPad and you can't even see it. So hold up a tick and let me get this muted right quick. Open this up. Boom. Now I can see your comments. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming into the stream. Mohammed, just wanted to talk about what you guys thought about some of these cuts that have happened. Anybody that you're surprised that made the team that that you thought might get cut? I really thought there was going to be a spot for Sua Cravens on the team. But, you know, we're just kind of really heavy at safety, and he really hasn't performed well, and he hadn't been on the field that much. And I think that Simmons and some of these other guys were just biting at his ankles to try to get his job, and that's what ended up happening. That Khalafani Muhammad, that little running back that we had, I mean, that guy's nice. I would have loved to have seen him return punts. I don't know why they didn't let him return punts. Maybe his hands back there were a little suspect. But anybody out there in the NFL looking for a solid running back with a little bit of speed, I mean, a shifty guy that can make, he made some big plays in a lot of the preseason games. And I mean, granted, he did it against third and fourth stringers. But I mean, look, these are NFL athletes that are in these uniforms on the other side of the ball, too. And even if that's the crazy thing, you know, like there's 1,200 NFL players that are fixing to get cut between yesterday and today. And every single one of them was probably the absolute best football player that's ever come through their high school. And they're not good enough to get on an NFL team. So that just goes to show you, if you got little ones at home with aspirations of making the NFL, certainly support them and push them to those goals. But the reality is that very small amount of people are ever going to play professional sports. Anybody concerned about our quarterback situation? Because I certainly am. I'm definitely not concerned with Flacco. I think Flacco's going to be a major upgrade from what we had last year with Keenum. I think teams won't be able to take advantage of it. Some blitzes so bad. Flacco's too smart from this. I mean, this is a seasoned veteran. This is a Super Bowl MVP, right? Case Keenum ain't that. Case Keenum had to fight, try to get a job this year. And we're going to definitely be better back there. Hopefully, you know, we've got a new offensive line. A lot of these guys have been hurt. We haven't seen them, a lot of them play together. The thankful thing that I think Bronco fans can hang their hat on is Dick LeBeau being our offensive line coach, one of the best in the game, one of the best linemen in the game. And I think we've got some experienced players, sign a new right tackle. I mean, we've got some concern at offensive line, definitely some concern at middle linebacker. But the Broncos signed a linebacker. I heard the Raiders cut Marshall. We may be in the market to bring Brandon Marshall back here, obviously at a cheaper price. But at least he knows, you know, he's familiar with our locker room. These guys, you know, got some friends here, and I think that he left on some good terms. So look for that maybe to happen. Also look for the Broncos to maybe make a trade for quarterback. I mean, certainly somebody that should be on our radar, although I don't think he's going to become free as a free agent. I don't think he's going to get cut, is Nick Mullins from the 49ers. I love Mullins. I really do. I think he's the best quarterback in San Francisco. But, they're hung on Jimmy Garoppolo there in the front office, and I think that they may trade him, they may cut him, I don't know. But if they do, with Scangarello being here as our offensive coordinator, that would really make a lot of sense to try to bring Mullins and bring him to be our backup quarterback. And I would breathe much easier if he was here. I mean, who's out there is really sad that Chad Kelly's still not on the roster. I mean, I would love for Chad Kelly not to have just screwed up here in Denver. I mean, just to... we still don't know the whole story on that, what really happened, because it's kind of odd. They said alcohol wasn't involved, but they didn't say what kind of drugs. They didn't really say too much. Cut him the next morning, so whatever it was, it had to be something big. But, man, our quarterback situation is looking thin right now. I mean, Brett Ripien's one snap away from being the starter of the Denver Broncos. I mean, that's the truth of the matter, as where it stands right now. So there's only 2 quarterbacks on the roster right now that can play. Locke, I think, is going to end up going on IR. Maybe they roll the dice and try to bring him back Hurley. I don't really know, but, I mean, the main thing is that Flacco's got to stay protected in the pocket. If he doesn't, the season's over. Now, if Flacco can just play Flacco-like, I mean, just everything that he's always done in his career, we're going to win some football games here. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the division. I predicted the Broncos would probably be somewhere around 8-8. This is a new coach, new scheme, new team, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to win 10 games here in Denver. And the reason I say that, and anybody who disagrees with me just ain't been watching what we've been watching, Bronco fans. This is a ruthless defense that we have here. This is as good as our Super Bowl 50 defense, and maybe faster. Maybe faster is at least getting to the quarterback. Our defensive line is so deep, and I think you've seen that in all these games. Even Derek Wolfe and Sarah, the other players on the defensive line, said this is the most competitive they've ever seen a defensive line at a training camp ever. And that's the truth, because Reed's playing really well back there. Wolf and Gotsis are just absolute beasts. And then you got that other guy, what's his name? I can't even think of his name. Big defensive guard or tackle that we have. And then we've got some good outside speed. I mean, I just really think that the Broncos are going to bring a lot of pressure after quarterbacks. And there's a lot of people saying that Miller and Chubb may combine for 40 sacks. I mean, I think the record's like, 39 or some crazy number that somebody hit. But I mean, this is a dynamic duo. It's the best pass rushing duo in the league. I mean, anybody else get excited seeing Chubb use that shove off move just to create a little bit of separation between him and a 300-pound tackle and got around him like it was nothing to get to the quarterback? I mean, that's exciting for Bronco fans to watch. Welcome to the stream, Gary Holland, Mike Vinatucci, Sports with Psycho Sam. Thanks for showing up in the stream. We're definitely going to get to some of these comments. I just wanted to get a few things out here on what I thought about some of these players getting cut. I think hopefully somehow Mohammed slips through and ends up on our practice squad. I'd love to see him get there. I'd love to see Brett Ripien get in our practice squad somehow when Locke becomes healthy, because I think there's a little bit of talent there. I think the kid works hard. I was surprised maybe to see Dakota Watson get cut. I mean, he was kind of really playing well for the Broncos, but that just goes to show the strength of our defense. There's going to be some good defensive players on the free agent market, on the waiver wire. If you're looking for defensive players, the Denver Broncos cut roster, our trash pile, is probably somewhere where you ought to start looking to be looking for some players, because I think there's some nice football players there that can start on a lot of teams. Brandon Barrett, yo, what's happening? You a fan of the Broncos, Brandon? Or maybe a fan of me, I don't know. What anyway, I'm gonna guess if you guys are in here, you're a fan of at least what I have to say, which again, I appreciate all you guys coming to the stream. I'm just one dude that, just a Bronco fan. I'm a maniac just like the rest of you. I live, die, sleep, eat, drink, everything the Denver Broncos. I'm always looking at our roster, always looking at how we can improve our team, coaching staff, front office, ownership, everything. And I think the Broncos have made a big step from this last year to this year. I mean, this is not the same Bronco team that you've seen last year. It really isn't, because we're definitely quality at running back. We've got some young wide receivers, but I think these guys are up to the task. I think Cortland Sutton's the next big name that's going to be a wide receiver in the NFL. Of course, Manuel Sanders, you've always heard me say that he's our best playmaker on the team, and he has been for forever. I mean, he really has. He was way better than Demaryius Thomas was as a playmaker here, in my opinion. I think that, we're better at quarterback. We're going to be ruthless on the back end on our defense. We're going to really be able to get after people. And we've got some athletic people on the interior line. And the good news about our defense is everybody's healthy. I mean, we don't really have, outside of Todd Davis, any major injury that's going to really hinder us. And now I think Davis may miss the first game, or he may play limited in that, but sooner or later he's going to get back. I know the Broncos did sign a linebacker. We also signed a cornerback, or we traded for a cornerback that was a second-round draft pick last year from New England. I think we gave him a sixth rounder to get him, so that added a little depth in our back end. So I like what the Broncos have done. And I think that, clearly to me, the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West. They're the team that everybody's going to have to shoot for to bring down. But we are the type of team that's built to beat a team like the Chiefs, because you can't beat the Chiefs by trying to go build offense and score with them. They got too potent of an offense. They're going to put up a lot of points. You got to beat the Chiefs by building a defense and try to limit the amount of times that they can touch the ball and score. And then hopefully, you've got a good enough offense to put up against that Swiss cheese defense. You can put up 21 points. And if you can, you got a shot to win the football game. And we did that twice last year with a terrible quarterback and a ridiculous offensive line. And so look for the Broncos to give a run for everybody's money in the AFC West. I think the second place slot in the AFC West is wide open, especially when you're talking about Melvin Gordon not showing up for camp, Derwin James getting hurt for the Chargers, the Raiders. I mean, I know everybody's been watching Hard Knocks and the Raiders fans, and they're all hyped up, but it's the same shitty Raiders. Let's keep it real. I mean, it is so far right now. I mean, they got Tenderfoot. We don't know if he's going to play. Does he have the right helmet? Knock on wood with Gruden, the whole thing. So I just think that, between that and you look at what the Broncos have done to their roster, we have just as good a shot as anybody to make a run for the second, the wild card spot in the AFC, and possibly, who knows, anything can happen. Somebody can get injured. Broncos go win AFC West. Anything can happen. That's why they play the games. So I think the Broncos are the second or third best team in the AFC West. I think as of right now, the Chiefs are probably the team to beat. Let's go get to some of these comments, man. But Mike Venitucci, Chubb's going to be a savage this year. I agree with you, man. I mean, I think people have grossly underestimated how good Bradley Chubb is. This guy is a handful. I mean, he's a handful. And from what I've seen so far, I mean, you can make an argument just all-around player. I mean, he doesn't have the speed of Von Miller, but he's got elite speed for a defensive, edge rusher in the NFL. And his strength, I mean, you could compare it to Khalil Mack. I mean, he's that strong. He's that strong, physical, and aggressive. Look for him to make a huge leap. Psycho Sports Sam, thanks for the name. Shelby Harris, that's the one that I was missing on the offensive line. I don't think Gotsis is suspect. I think Gotsis is one great athlete. I went and watched the live practice they had in Mile High. Gotsis actually had that last, look, I think it was lock drop back. They were on the goal line. Gotsis jumped up and picked it off. And, he's a good athlete, and I think the kid can really help us this year. I know that our defensive line coach really likes him. Malik Reed is a beast. I mean, the guy's really been playing well. That's a good pick for the Broncos right there. And Justin Hollins beat out Dakota Watson. Yeah, Hollins actually played well in the preseason. I thought Watson did too. I mean, that one could have went either way, I think. Let's see what else we got here. Fred Brown didn't get cut. Actually, I don't think he has yet. We'll see. I don't expect Fred Brown to make the team, although he might. He does have good hands. Maybe we can use him to return punts. I mean, that's the bad thing. We have nobody to return punts here. Probably going to have to sign somebody that'll get cut. Problem is the Broncos don't have a lot of salary cap room. I think going into today we had like $3 million. Actually, now that we cut Cravens, we may have a little bit more freed up because I know Craven's got a pretty decent sized contract with us. So we probably got something to work with, but I don't think we've got anything to go sign, a big name. And we're definitely going to have to make some sort of a trade for a quarterback. I mean, we just really can't go into this opening game with your backup quarterback being a guy that played at Boise State just 6 or 7 months ago. I mean, that's just It's just not, and we do need it. We need that kickoff and punt returner off waivers. And the main thing we need is we really need somebody that just can fair catch when they're supposed to, catch the ball when they're supposed to, and average freaking 9-10 yards a carry. I mean, I would love to get more than that, but if we can just get 9-10 yards a return, as a Broncos fan, I'll be happy with that. Just catch the damn ball, don't fumble it, protect the ball, take care of the football, get me 8-9-10 yards, and let's just do what we can do. I think we're going to score some points on offense. This defense is a lot better than it was last year, and it was a pretty good team last year. The only reason we finished low in a lot of categories, our offense was so bad, the defense was so on the field so much, giving the other team extra chances. I don't think that's going to be the case this year with Flacco. He's too smart for you just to blitz him. This guy knows what's going on. This is a student of the game. I mean, he's not the greatest quarterback in the NFL that's out there, but he's good enough to win with, and he's proven that in Baltimore because they didn't always have the best people around him, and he found a way to win. What's up, LA Ridge? Bolts off his line, going to get Rivers killed. You know, I don't know much about the bolts off his line. I know that Derwin James, that was a big hit to you guys. It really was. And I really think Gordon, you know, I saw your video the other day where you didn't think Gordon had that kind of clout to hold out to get that kind, and I think he does. I mean, I really do. I think that Gordon is one of maybe 5 backs in the NFL that, you know, not only can he carry it effectively out of the game and get you 25 carries, and if you need to carry 30, he can. But he's just wicked out of the backfield catching balls, and there's not a lot of guys who can do that. I mean, a lot of NFL players can catch balls out of the backfield, but there's not a lot of guys that can beat you for 40, 45, 50, 60 yards downfield on a wheel route or a screen pass making people miss, and he's that type of talent. Kareem Hunt is that. Alvin Kamara is that. So, I mean, there's a few guys that can do that really well, and I think Gordon's one of those people. I sure hope he doesn't come back. I mean, it's just better off for us, but he is on my fantasy team. I love the kid. I think he's a hell of a talent. But, you know, I still think the Chargers are going to be pretty solid because Eckler's pretty good running back. But I think that, you know, right now I wouldn't say head and shoulders easily that the Chargers have a better chance at the wild card spot than the Broncos do. I wouldn't say that at all, and I would have said that last year. I think that second place spot is wide open, and who knows what happens with injuries, and maybe the Chiefs stumble. You never know. Gary Holland, just want to say howdy. Good luck this year, Chiefs Kingdom. Hey, I know you guys got a lot to be excited about in Kansas City this year. I mean, you should, right? I mean, you went to the AFC Championship game last year, and as people don't realize that haven't been there in a long time, that's hard to even just make that game, let alone win it, let alone win the Super Bowl, which is why our franchise is so dominant. I mean, we've got 3 of them, you got none. I mean, now you understand what we've been screaming, why these Super Bowls are so important and how hard they are to get. But I think that the Chiefs are the team to beat, but don't expect Patrick Mahomes to have the kind of year he had last year every single year going forward. I mean, let's be honest, the kid hasn't really had to deal through a whole lot of adversity. Let's see what happens when he's got to come into the game on a bum knee, or he's got a sprained calf, or he's got a jammed index finger. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been pretty McLean in his first real year of football. And, you know, you can't do that over the course of 15 years. No quarterback has. He's going to have his ups and his downs. But, I mean, Chiefs are already trying to chisel his bust into the Hall of Fame. Nick Mullins to the Broncos. CA Sports wants to know, hey, I think it's possible. I think it's possible only because they know that they're going to either have to pay him. Look, Nick Mullins has been exposed. That guy came in on that Thursday night game last year and lit it up. I was like, who the hell is Nicky Mullins? Nick Mullins can play, and I watched him in the preseason this year, and I think Mullins is a good quarterback. He makes good decisions. He sure looks good out there, and he delivers the ball with authority. He's got a little bit of, you know, movement and scramble ability in him. I like Mullins. I hope the Broncos figure out a way to get that guy on the roster, and I think the 49ers will be making a dumb move to make that trade with us unless they're getting something really good for him. Mike Vinachucci says, if our offensive line holds up, we're going to be good this year. I promise with our defense. I feel the same way. I think that if we can protect the quarterback, that's what's really going to all come down to, because we can run the football. I think we got good outside speeds. We're going to run a lot of two tight end sets with Fant and Fuman Julie, whatever that guy's name is. And I think that those two are going to be able to stretch the field for us when we do take shots downfield. And I think that Vinny Bag of Donuts, right? Joey Bag of Donuts Flacco. I mean, I think he's that kind of player where he's going to probably loves throwing the tight end, a lot of check down plays, a lot of possession, short passes, and then every now and then we take 4 or 5 shots downfield. And I think we got the speed burners and Sanders and Sutton to get that done. Bulls needs to stop having make-out seasons with our defensive players, make-out sessions with our defensive players. I agree. I mean, look, here's the thing. A teammate said yesterday, and the teammate was Derek Wolfe, said that, Bowles was making huge strides this year and really growing up and maturing and becoming a pro athlete and a pro player. And the thing is that, I mean, the guy was like 26 when we drafted him. So he's an older guy. Bowles got to make a big step. If he doesn't, we literally just have to cut bait and fish. We gotta go on, move on from him because he makes too many mistakes and he's cost us a lot of drives just with penalties, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to stomach Bowles anymore for me. It really is. We're 10th on the waiver wire, so we don't have any reason to trade. Well, that depends, Mike. I mean, look, I understand we're 10th, but do you think if Nick Mullins gets cut or released by the 49ers, he's going to make it 10 spots? And if he doesn't, are you willing to gamble? Because I'm willing to give up a 6th-round pick and maybe even a 5th and take somebody else in that 10th spot and trade for Nick Mullins. I mean, I'm not willing to wait and see because I think he will get scooped up. I think he's that good that he's a solid backup anywhere in the NFL, just a solid, reliable backup with NFL experience, and I'm not willing to pick that guy for waiver wire because right now we ain't got nobody at backup quarterback. Let's see. We don't need him, Mile High Truth. Well, who do we need? Who do we need? I mean, look, if you're the general manager or the head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mile High Truth, and you know that Flacco is your quarterback and your number one, your 2nd-round draft pick, Golden Boy, the future of the Broncos, is sitting in the training room with a sprained thumb, and the other guy didn't look good in preseason, maybe wouldn't even have made this team if Hogan would have played well. Who do we got? Well, we got Locke. We don't have Locke right now. We ain't going to have Locke for 5 weeks, maybe 6. They're thinking about putting him on the IR. See, I mean, and that's the thing. If you're going to say we don't need him, we don't need Nick Mullins, at least have a reason why we don't need him. What's the plan? Because the plan can't be going into the season with Ripien as your backup quarterback right now. It just can't. Maybe down the road, if it's late in the year and the Broncos are 6-10, or you know what I mean, if they got some bad record, then you can say, well, we'll just use Ripien for these last few games, not the beginning of the year. Give me a reason why if you're going to take that. Still 58. What's happening? Broncos are underrated, just like the Steelers this year. Facts. I agree on both of those points. I think the Broncos are underrated. I think the Steelers are underrated too. I don't think either one of us are the best team in the division, but I think both of these teams are going to be in a lot of football games. They're going to win more games than people think, and they're going to be tougher to beat. They're different revamped teams. So, look, we're going to find out here pretty soon because real bullets starting to fly on Sunday next week, and I'm excited as about anybody else is about the Broncos opening this season up. I mean, finally preseason's over. There's not a lot you could tell. I mean, the Broncos went 2-2 in the preseason. What did the Chiefs go like 2-2 or something like that? It don't matter. I mean, it really don't matter what your preseason record was because you're going forward on 4th down when you shouldn't be, and you're not kicking into the end zone. You're trying to get people to return so you can test the coverage. I mean, all that stuff don't matter. It's just practice. All you can tell from that is do some of your young guys look good. I like watching preseason games. I really do. Just because I want to see how some of these young players that we've signed, some of these guys are looking. I think that we've got a little bit here in Denver to be excited about. We need our draft capital. Slaughter would be nice. I agree, Mike. Slaughter would be great. And it would also be great if we had Chad Kelly on this roster. I mean, think about it, how late of a pick he was. I mean, he's cheap. And just a guy that, was really one step, maybe 1 or 2 games away from being in the starter and having the reins of the stagecoach here. And I'm rooting for Chad Kelly. I really am. I mean, I hope he gets a shot there in Indy. And I think eventually he's going to, with luck, deciding to retire. And I think Chad Kelly's a football player. I mean, you saw in the draft video that I did a couple of years ago, before the last round was even picked, I went through and made my video of all the players that we picked. And I said, we got one pick left. There's only one player I want, and his name's Chad Kelly. I want to take a chance on this kid. And Elway was thinking the same way I was, and we grabbed him, and he sure looked nice when he was here. But the thing is, he ain't here anymore. Anyway, you know what? Y'all hold on. I need to go get a charger cable to charge this in. I don't want to end this stream right now, but my battery's about to go dead. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry. Hang on a second. Let me get this plugged in so we can keep this going, because whoop. Hang on a minute. There we go. Now we're golden. All right, let's get back to some of these comments. CA Sports, Flacco's, Mullins, and Locke. I like that. I do too. That would make our quarterback depth chart make me feel comfortable as a Broncos fan that, you know, I didn't expect Locke to play this year at all. I mean, I really didn't. I expect him to have a whole year sitting out. Maybe two. I mean, this might be another whole Aaron Rodgers situation. It's not like we have Brett Favre there, but we've got a pretty good quarterback that we signed to. I think we signed Flacco like a 3-year deal. So expect Flacco, especially if he plays well and gets us in the playoffs, he's going to be our starter next year. So, you know, Locke may be down the road a little ways. And from what we've seen in the preseason, he is down in the road. He is down the road. I mean, he just is. We've seen some good things. I mean, that ball that he threw on the sidelines when the tight end turned around, it was right on his hands. I mean, those are throws. That's a big-time NFL throw, that 15-yard out. We also seen him, you know, try to thread the needle in the end zone, the ball that he shouldn't have thrown. We were in scoring position, a game we were winning. So there's, you know, look, he's got some maturity and some growing that needs to be done, but I think that's going to come. His arm talent and his talent at just playing quarterback, I think that that's obvious. I think that we've seen enough to justify a second-round draft pick on him, but he's not good enough to put the earpiece in the helmet and go in the game right now. He's just not. I wouldn't feel comfortable with him in there. Devin Bush, straight stud. Let me tell you something, Steel 58. I agree, and I was just having this conversation with a good buddy of mine who's a huge Broncos fan. He was over here the other night, and he asked me, he said, would you rather have Devin Bush or Noah Fant on this roster right now? And I was like, my goodness, could you imagine? I mean, we need inside linebacker help bad here in Denver. Can you imagine Devin Bush along with our two bookend pass rushers and our wicked defensive line in the 52-80? I mean, come on. How are teams going to even score against that? So I'm not saying that Noah was a bad decision, especially now with Jake Butt going back on maybe IR or getting cut, who knows, and we're thin at that position anyway. And, you know, and look, Noah sure looks like a great athlete. He's big, he's physical, he's fast, he's super athletic. Kind of reminds me of Delaney Walker. And I think we may be able to use him as such. I don't think the Broncos have showed all of our cards what we're willing to do with him. But as of right now, if I had to say one of two things, what would I rather have, Bush or him? I'd rather have Devin Bush. I mean, I really would, but we do need a tight end, and we ain't had a good one here for a minute. So good luck. Shout out to Devin Bush. Good call, Steel 58. Brandon Barrett wouldn't mind getting Brock Osweiler back. Well, let me tell you something. I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't. And I know a lot of people are going to be against that, but at least it's a familiar locker room situation, city. You know, it'd be a new offense, new system. But I think, you know, look, Brock won some football games here. He had a big piece to do, the reason why we're wearing our third Super Bowl ring. And a lot of people want to discount that. What do you win, like 6 games here? 5, 6 games when Matt Manning was out with that plantar fasciitis? So, look, hey, I got no problem. I don't think Brock Osweiler is a good quarterback. I don't think Brock Osweiler is a starter, but I think he's good enough to play backup quarterback. I mean, obviously, to come in for a couple of games and try to keep the ship, on course. If you got a good little thing going while your starter gets healthy. He's got some NFL experience on a few different teams. He's learned some systems. He knows how to read some defenses. I'd damn sure rather have Brock Osweiler in the game at backup quarterback than I would at Brett Ripien right now or Drew Lock, to tell you the truth. Both of those guys, I would still rather have Osweiler go into the game. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. Noah Fant's still a good pick. Brandon Barrett, I agree. I agree. I think he's still a good pick. I still think he's a good pick. But man, it'd be hard to not have Devin Bush on this team. It really would. I mean, if you watched my videos before the draft came out, even last year, my top two quarterbacks last year that I liked were Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. I did not like the surfer boy that went to Arizona. Didn't like him at all. I didn't like a lot of quarterbacks, but I liked those two, and I think those two were the two jewels out of the deal. And neither one of them was really expected to go the highest, and they went really high. This year, in all my videos, I said the only two quarterbacks I like are Locke and Daniel Jones. I didn't like Kyler Murray. Jury's still out on him. Didn't like Dwayne Haskins. I mean, there was a lot of guys. I do like Justin Herbert coming out next year or this year. Maybe Tua, except I got to see if Tua can throw that deep 15-yard out. I don't think he can. I don't think he can drive the ball. I think Dabu Sweeney figured it out. They picked him off twice on that play last year, and that's where I think he's suspect. I think he's an athlete, can throw on the run, but I'm not sure he can make all those NFL throws. And, obviously, definitely the kid from Clemson's a good quarterback. But, I mean, right now, I don't think the Broncos' focus is on getting another quarterback, although we're always going to be in the market. I mean, we didn't draft one in the first round. We didn't like Locke good enough in the first round. Locke's got first-round talent, but he makes a lot of bad decisions, and those bad decisions will lose football games for you. I've seen him do it at Missouri. I also seen him slice up Florida when he was at Missouri. So who knows what we really got right now. But I'm just excited that the season's here. Let's fill this roster out. Let's get this trade done. Let's get another quarterback on our roster. And let's get ready for the Raiders, because this is going to be one hell of a matchup on Monday Night Football in the WAC. Oh, Jokeland, we're coming. We're coming. And hey, the video, the trash talk video, whatever you want to call it, that I usually make the week before, it's coming. I'm working on it right now. It takes me a while to put these things together and get some ideas. And, one thing that a lot of people who don't make videos or they don't live streams, that they don't understand, this looks easy. And it really is. It is. And it's easy for me because I was just a born talker. I think you probably all figured that out by now. I've been in sales my whole life. I mean, it's really not hard for me to talk about the Broncos because I don't really have to think about it. It's just like breathing to me. But what's hard when you're making videos or live streams is like, look, I have to put out something entertaining enough for y'all to watch. And, what's easy? Making a video. What's really easy? Making like 10. What's hard is after you get to 30. And what's really hard is when you're in the hundreds and you're like, wow, what am I going to talk about? People still want to listen to, right? So I appreciate you guys all showing up and checking out my videos, live streams. I mean, I must be doing something right, but I sure appreciate the sport. Chargers better win this year because next time it's time to tank for the quarterback from Clemson. Well, I don't know about all that, and I don't think NFL players tank. I mean, I don't really think they really do tank any games because there's too much money on the line. But I do like that quarterback at Clemson. But I think, look, it's a Chargers window. It's also the Chiefs window. I mean, the Chiefs got a window here to win the Super Bowl. And if they don't get it now, they may never get it because you're going to start paying people here pretty soon. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to get stupid money, $200 million. He's going to get ridiculous money. And you're talking about Hill. I mean, there's going to be some players that are going to have to pay. And Mahomes is going to take a big chop out of that checkbook. Mile High 661X or 6, what is that? 6IX69. Is that what that means? I don't know. Anyway, my thoughts on Duke Dawson. Look, man, I'm happy anytime we can get a second-round pick from a coach that picked him like Bill Belichick for a sixth-round pick. I think is that what they gave up for him, or a fifth-round pick, sixth-round pick. I think it's a good move. I mean, we need more cornerbacks. It's not like we don't have our starters set. Our starters are set. Duke Dawson's not going to start in Denver. But we do need some depth. I don't know. Maybe he can return punts. I don't know what Duke Dawson's skill set is, but I do know we need some depth in the secondary. Mike Vinatucci, we'll stomp the Raiders. Chubb, take care of him. Yeah, look, man, I expect Chubb to really get after the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a suspect defense, and I think they also got a suspect offensive line. And I think we're going to be able to get to them. And that just depends if Antonio Brown's going to play. I mean, I know that Doss looks pretty nice out there on the outside, that rookie that's from, I think he's from right there, from Oakland or something. He looks like pretty good. But look, it's preseason. He's making those plays against guys that aren't ones and twos. I mean, who knows? It's really hard to say. Is he really that good or is he not? But sure looks good. Sure looks good. Looked like they might have found him a good tight end. But I'm not really too concerned about the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders have been the bottom of the barrel in the trash heap of the AFC West until they show the rest of us in here who know what real football franchises are about otherwise. Then we ain't gonna give them no respect. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Get out of here with the Raiders. You're out. You love my content. Stay safe. Thanks, Mike. Hey, I appreciate the support, man. And look, I just do me, be who I am. This is who I am every day when I'm talking about the Broncos, and I'm just glad you guys all show up. I don't want to take up any more of your good time. There's great college football games on today, which I'm about to get back to. Just wanted to get on here, give my 2 cents of what I think about Hogan getting cut and some of the guys that we released and what our quarterback situation was. And then, come tomorrow night after the practice squad gets filled, it's game on, and it's on like a pot of neck bones. This is Yoshi Bronknuts, 719 West, checking up out of here. Real football Monday morning when the sun comes up and the rooster crows. Raiders, be ready. We coming. I'm out. See you.